Camping's always been a confusing topic for me. Like, humans are constantly improving and innovating the comforts that come with urban living, and it's not particularly perplexing why people do this. We, as humans, like comfort. So it's beyond the logical mind why one would forego modern conveniences like toilets, insulated walls, and food that's actually edible, just to return for a few days back into nature where we came from. It's like people are voluntarily regressing to caveman times just for the experience. Nevertheless, if you're one of these people who want to try camping, here's a step-by-step guide to get you started. Okay, so step 1 is making a plan. If you want to plan a good camping trip, you need to work out where you're going, who you're going with, and how long you'll be there for. In terms of location, whether it be a remote place with no facilities or a well-equipped campground, it's always important to get a permit and pay your fees. Sneaking in at night when reception is closed may be a financially viable option, but we all know if you're someone who drives a Toyota Corolla, you don't have anywhere near the balls to pull something off like this. Once you've worked out who you're going with, be very careful on how long you make the duration of the trip. If you're going with family, you can make the duration however long you want, but if you're going with friends, I would keep it to a maximum of 2 days and 1 night. This is because in reality, you don't actually know your friends that well. You don't know what's going on in that sick little mind of theirs. So when you're around them for 24 hours a day, you're bound to see the real them and end up despising the general way in which they go about their life. In my case, it was when we were grocery shopping for the trip and he decided to buy chicken breast for some fajitas instead of chicken thigh. Unforgivable. Okay, so now that you have your plan ready, it's time for step 2, which is traveling there and getting motion sick for the full 2-hour drive. The next step is optional, but I usually like to throw up out of the window onto the car door to express my dissatisfaction. Okay, so now that you're at the campsite and you're all set up, it's now time for step 3, forgetting to bring everything. So nothing spoils a good camping trip like forgetting to bring that vital something which really completes the experience for everyone. I've forgotten a fair number of things over my many trips, so here are some substitutes for some common objects people usually leave at home. Salt and pepper. So this isn't really a big deal, it just means all the food you cook will be incredibly bland. It's not really a perfect substitute, but I like to get a few tablespoons of water from a nearby river and let it evaporate in the pot right before the eggs and bacon have finished cooking. So next up is alcohol. Alcohol makes anything better, which is why it's always a bummer when you leave it at home. Rather than crying like a normal person in this situation, you just need to find a different high, the natural way. I like to think about that time in 7th grade when the girl I had a crush on lightly brushed her hand on mine when she was giving back a highlighter she borrowed. Okay, so finally a lighter or a fire starter. If you forgot to bring anything to start a fire, it isn't always easy to get one going using the natural methods. That's why I usually just stay cold. Step 4 is of course taking a dump. If you're at a campsite, there'll probably be one of these. If you're only provided with nature's toilet, however, then the process is pretty self-explanatory. Now, I don't know about you, but I struggle enough trying to drop a deuce in the downstairs toilet in my own home. It has to be the one upstairs by the bathroom. I don't know, it's weird, sometimes my insides just know. So if I'm in one of these, I gotta go Super Saiyan just to give birth to little testicle-sized poo pebbles, and even then I don't feel satisfied. Just make sure your little snake friend doesn't touch the bottom of the bowl, or else you'll have to have a very awkward conversation with your girlfriend about how you went away with some broskies alone in the woods and somehow got gonorrhea from a public toilet. And yes, for you ladies, this is a real concern men have to deal with. I mean, not for me, but judging from the statistical average. Hey, the real joke here is that women are actually going to watch this video. Now finally, this last step is coincidentally my favorite, which is of course, going home. There'll be a checklist of things to do like drying out all of your equipment and cleaning out your dirty clothes, but you're not gonna do that, because as you walk inside, a giant wave of fatigue hits you harder than that stool you've been holding in all trip and you collapse onto the couch. You impulsively throw your forearm over your eyes to block out the blinding sunlight seeping through the window, and you drift off. You awaken 15 hours later in a daze. There's a feeling of relief that washes over you though, like the chains of 2 days worth of dirt, aching legs, and dog-ass food have been unshackled. Then you smell something, because all your equipment is now moldy. Now I'm gonna say, camping is best experienced as a side activity, like fishing? Collecting magic mushrooms? Now that's worth my time. Sitting around a campfire, doing absolute jack? fucking snooze time, dude. People are constantly visually stimulated. We're in an age where I can go on YouTube and in 3 seconds I can bring up a video of Kim Jong-un eating KFC ASMR. So don't act like I'm wrong for finding this boring, okay? It's objectively boring. You want to go camping? You want to voluntarily lower your living conditions tenfold because it's fun and outdoorsy? Camping's mid, what can I say?